And now it's time for our first speaker of this evening, the people you actually came here to listen to. Nik, Head of Data Engineering, will be presenting his human-centric leadership for the future of data teams.
Moderate terror using a microphone. Excellent. Hello, I'm Nik. Much better version of me there. Happily bumming around in Australia. Pardon the first 5 minutes while I get my bearings on just about anything and forget absolutely everything. So, a bit about me before we kick off. 15 years in data, that seems like 300,000 years when it comes to anything we actually do, right? I focus on teams building human-centric ones, so I focus on people more than I do on the tech things these days, because there are way smarter people, that's you, doing cool things. I affectionately refer to myself as Captain ADHD. I have ADHD, so I will probably be staring around the room, playing, fidgeting, pointing the red dot at things. I want to sit there and apologise for it, but I am going to. D&I advocate, I talk about everything, I make sure things are inclusive, seeing the code of conduct is fucking awesome. I love seeing things like that because it means everyone actually has a voice, even if it's a microphone. As you may have noticed, I'm also capable of swearing an inordinate amount. I apologise for that one. Coolsies. So, why am I talking about this? I'm going to probably verbatim this one. The past 5 years have been absolutely bonkers for absolutely everyone for a variety of reasons, right? COVID-19 kicked the ass out of everyone. Working from home is cool. God, about 4 of you nodded, Jesus. You're the people I argue with on LinkedIn a lot. Cost of living, people telling us to come back to the office, that's always really fun. The anti-work, the quiet quitting, great resignation, with quite frankly the attitude of fuck you pay me that's kind of coming from workers across multiple industries. I've seen people who are working in industries get absolutely exploited. It sucks. Wars, politics, it's been absolutely crazy. Politics is generally a good one when you start looking up at people you're supposed to in some way admire, and you kind of like see Johnson and Sunak and Trump. I may lean a particular way politically, I apologise. But it's a dearth of leadership where you sit there and you just kind of go, well, so what? Like, if these people are getting away with it, it's bad. It sucks, like, for a variety of big reasons. So I think more and more people, especially over the COVID period, started asking more of their leaders, and no one really had answers to it because we're taught in a very specific way, that management-y, yes, the magic opinion of doom that gets taught to people about what you're supposed to do. And my notes are massive, so I forgot everything. Excellent, so there we go. So we're taught, like, as techies, as engineers, very often what you do is you go to junior, you're an engineer, you're a senior, then you're a principal, and then you're just kind of foisted on head of. And it's like, by the way, now you've got to lead people. If you do that in any way that's kind of sensible, you're expected to know what's going on. You don't. Finance skills? It's great. When I first started out, I thought, finance skills, yeah, I know how maths works. You need to know how Excel works, which is terrifying. Processes, BA work, drawing boxes on walls, everyone learns it, but it works, right? And then the management skill side of things is kind of taught to people in that half kind of way where it's just, here's how to have a good one-to-one, here's how to have your end of year, here's how to have a really hard conversation with people. It's not a hard conversation though, it's basically telling someone to maybe be at their desk at 9 o'clock in the morning, which is just ridiculous. And I don't think you're really taught how to lead anyone. I had a director who turned around to me once and uttered a phrase, and took us to the next slide a little bit, which is, you've got to be really, really technical, but like in the depth of the detail, but then really strategic at the same time. Be people-focused, like think about the process, which is the most fuzzy expectations bullshit, to how to actually lead teams I've encountered. And it was great fun trying to have a conversation where that was basically the answer for, why is this going wrong? Awesome. Stuff like that has led to really negative traits throughout management and leadership. People who rule by fear. You probably also have seen this one. It's people who bang on and throw laptops down, and well, I've definitely thrown my laptop down in desperation at people before. But they rule by fear, they're angry, they're furious, they're pissed off all the time, and you are terrified to approach them. I've been that person. I'm 6'4", and I'm terrified to approach people who are like that. Unreliable people, unreliable leaders. They are not there when they say they will be. You can't trust a word out of their mouth. Quite common. I have seen the ones who have a fear of conflict with you. If you're strong-willed, very strong-willed, then you get a lot of times with, they may not want to have a hard conversation with you, and that can make actually driving change as data engineering lead really hard. Or they'll make unreasonable demands. It does get less negative, I promise. They make unreasonable demands. 4:30 on a Friday, just as you're ready for that nice crisp pint in the pub. Jim, I need you to do the work. It's going to be done by Monday. But there's no expectations, and you know full well they're for a long weekend. It's unrealistic, it's unreasonable, it's nonsense. Unwilling to make decisions? That's a biggie. You get quite a lot of top dogs at the moment who don't seem to know how to make a decision, even when they're advised, even when they're given the data, the information, the analytics behind it. They can't make a decision, they can't make a choice. Don't know why, but they're like that. Ever tried to confront them on this? They get defensive with you. Indirect, they may give you an order through somebody else. I've been given orders from product guys before that was actually meant for me, that it was expected that it's passed down to me. That's not helpful. Fuzzy expectations, and I spoke about that one. Got to be super, super detailed and super strategic at the same time. Context switching, like constant inappropriate support. And because memes are amazing and that's the way I communicate, there you go, have a bit of a meme. So, who's had a boss who's got 3 of those? Be honest, it's a safe space. It could have been me. If it was me at any point, I apologise. Anyone had 6? Who's had the whole gamut other than me? Please don't name all of you. It sucks, right? Who's left bosses because they're like that, though? Yeah, I have. Absolutely sucks. So, that's why I got on my soapbox a little bit. I don't need a soapbox, I'm quite tall. Much to Harry's dismay. So, human-centric leadership is putting people first. It's giving about your people so you can be more compassionate in the workplace. That is actually caring, genuine care, genuine love, genuine appreciation of people. And there's bits and bobs, traits to this that I'll go quickly around. So, caring, being able to care, actually showing your care towards people. Seeing opportunities, I think I've spelled that word wrong, but hey. Seeing opportunities, and it's not opportunities as in the business term of it. We've got this opportunity to do really cool things, don't care. It's opportunities for your people to grow, to develop, to build, for you to support those opportunities. You inspire people, you can be vulnerable with people. I'll talk about one in a moment. You can be trusting towards people. I started a co-op 9-ish months ago now. Definitely feels like more. I trust my people implicitly when I come into a new team. I have no reason not to trust them. I trust them implicitly until proven otherwise, and then it's a case that I simply see the opportunity to train them more if they're a problem or they've got an issue. That's not hard. Seek feedback. Come talk to me in the pub. I want feedback about this. Calm. I'm mostly calm. I bounce off the walls occasionally. I will do in the pub after this, and I'll have loads of adrenaline. I learn loads. Anybody, Harry, who has actually talked to me digitally will see the massive plethora of books behind me. It's not there for show. I read too much. I love learning, but a human-centric leader should learn as much as they can about random topics. We walk the talk. I do. You should. It's meaningful. Thankful. Thanks for being here and listening to my stupid voice. Empathetic. Honest. I'm honest to a fault. And I'm interested. I will be interested in all of you. I don't give a shit what job you do. We're all data engineers, architects, nerds, whatever we are. Tell me about you as people. Like, I like motorbikes, I'm an archer, ADHD, I bounce off walls, come talk to me. It's the best thing in the world. I love talking to each of you. You're great little puzzles unto yourselves. I'm probably the same to people. Cool. Bit more soapboxy. When you start developing these traits, when you start working on them, you'll start getting emotional awareness. And that's your own sense of emotional awareness. That's what you'll pick up from other people. As a guy with ADHD, my emotional awareness has sucked until about 5-10 years ago, where I realised probably need to start figuring out what body language means. That's always good fun. Mindsets, being able to get the right mindset for certain things. Being able to public speak is always really good for the mindset these days. Knowing yourself. There's too many leaders who do not know themselves. You're a leader, you have to know what you are, who you are, what the fuck you stand for. If you do not have that, I apologise if you can't put it on YouTube because I'm swearing too much.
Be edited.
Edited is just like a constant stream of fuzzy noise.
There'll be a lot of editing for this.
Sorry. You have to know yourself. You have to know yourself. There's too many business leaders you'll encounter who don't know anything beyond the business process, beyond how to wear the blue suit, which is an advanced pen, who can only wear the blue suit, can't take it off, and they're always in the work sell mindset, and it doesn't work for people anymore. You have to be aware of dignity and stereotypes. I'm from Leicester, I've got ADHD, I'm aware of wider stereotypes because I'm exposed to more cultures than the vast majority of people. I've realised that there are comments and terms that get thrown around and banded around that really aren't fun. For example, Paddy and Murphy jokes when you've got Irish family members. They really suck. Intentional listening. Shut up and listen to people. It's that difficult. Empathy. That's the biggie that I will get to talk about. When you start building these, you'll start being able to communicate better. And genuinely, like I am now, that combination of mild terror and actually enjoying what I'm doing. Complete competency. You'll get in business where you get side A, side B, and the truth. And you'll be able to facilitate that kind of hard conversation with people. And with that, you get thriving teams. And you do. You can work on all these bits. When you work on these bits, this shit comes naturally. Sorry. This is just experience that you start picking up with. And I remember being the junior, walking into my first civvy job and being like, how do I learn half of this stuff? How do I learn to talk to these people? And it is just experience and it's talking. So, bit of a hard one, and I apologise in advance to all of you in case it does set anyone off. Empathy. This is a great kind of summary, and if anyone can't read it at the back, it's seeing with the eyes of another, it's listening with the ears of another, it's feeling with the heart of another. Not something that a white guy with a beard has been known to talk about very much. But it's really, really difficult to be able to do that, but you have to be able to when someone gives you hard news. The big one that I always use for this is August, next month, is the 5th year anniversary of my brother dying. And it's going to suck in a huge variety of ways, and everyone I work with is warned about it. That I might be okay, I might really not be okay. But with that, how do any of you currently feel about me sharing that with you? Are you upset about it? Are you, holy shit, that's really brutal? Are you quite cold about it? Some people are. Knowing how you feel about it when someone tells you something deeply central to who they are is really, really important. And it is tough. Some people have turned around to me like, don't share that, don't use that. I'm like, my brother would be well proud if he heard me talking about this kind of stuff because of it. So hey, I'll use it. And it's, words. It is at that point where you sit there, when you kind of, that's really tough, that's really hard, that emotional regulation has to kick in. Someone's told you something that's probably the worst day of their life. You lost a job, someone's passed. These things happen to people outside of work. Work's important, life's way more important. So it's about, as a leader, as a person, when does your emotional regulation kick in? And it's having the congruence. Congruence is a great counselling term, with a genuine appreciation and a genuine feel about how you feel about that topic. Because lost my brother, and my director at the time turned around and just went, Nick, I'm so sorry to hear about your loss. Sound genuine? One, and I can remember it to the day, and it sucked. So when someone gives me, I've had people, I've had Ukrainian members of staff, Russian members of staff, Palestinian members of staff, who've had real shit times of it. The genuine understanding about how I feel about those topics is able to go, tough, how can I help? And it is the boundary, the rock, the wall that helps people steady themselves when they've had the worst time of their lives. And that's why it's important, but it can also be the good side as well. Not just the heavy stuff, but it's knowing and having that self-awareness, the topics beyond the workplace. That's why learning is so important to human-centered leaders. And it is difficult to be a care bear. I am a care bear. If any of you are having a bad day, I'm a care bear. I will talk to you about it. You have to have self-compassion for it and emotional support behind it. I have bad days, and I have do no harm days where I'm just having a bad one, and you can chill out, do a little bit of admin. That's life. We can be that way. Self-compassion. We can find emotional support, surrounding ourselves with others who do that. For many of us who are neurodiverse, there's definitely some of you in this room who are, you'll have probably got groups online, you'll probably have groups in businesses, you'll have groups of friends who are like you, and they are your support network. They surround you with, you surround yourself with a good support network. You can offer that shoulder of support, love, and leadership during that tough time for anyone if you do not know how you feel about things, if you do not know yourself. And it's difficult. Right. Mostly heavy stuff over. Mostly. It's me. So I have kind of like 6 rules that I try and abide by as a leader towards my people. Post the heavy crap that I've just spoken about. So servant leadership does work wonders when you're human focused. It does. You are in service to your people. Doesn't matter which one. You can give them orders, you can give them commands, but if they need something, you're there. By example, shall you lead? Yes, more gifts. The worst quality gift I could have used. Wonderful. By example, shall you lead? I couldn't be the gobshite human-centric leader I am if I didn't stand in front of you guys and gals and say exactly the things that I believe in, because that wouldn't be me leading. That, by example, shall I lead? My guys in co-op do the same thing. You have to show you people why this work matters. Why does the work matter? What is it they're trying to achieve? Well, not just a value add. The money at the end of it is great, but why does that work matter? Encouraging teamwork, not putting two and two together and expecting people just to kind of twinge and get on. It doesn't work that way. But being able to, if someone's a little isolated or someone's new to the team, putting them together, buddying up with people, getting them embedded into teams and encouraging that teamwork because of knowledge and business knowledge, that's how you start slowly encouraging. And you don't focus on your own internal growth. You develop and grow your people, because think about it as automating yourself out of a job, especially as a leader. My next step is whatever my next step is. There's at least 2 people I know who are my 2 ICs. If something happened to me, they can step into my role quite comfortably and quickly. They can do that. It's developing the people who they want to do. They may want to go in a different direction. They may want to be software engineers, heaven forbid. But it's very much giving them the development of that. Yeah, I'm really critical of software engineers. And your team do matter beyond reason. Like, there's no other thing. You should care for them personally. You do have to be a little bit distant, but hey, that's life. And feedback is essential. Spoke about that one earlier. Nicked some stuff from psychological safety from Agile. Who loves Agile? Hands up. Here, there's at least one. Excellent. Psychological safety is important. And it's actually really good from it. Like, it is good from it because it's the way we have things. Like, because when you've got people in teams with have a fear of admitting mistakes, they're never going to be safe to do things. Like, you have to be able to do things properly. You have to be able to admit mistakes. I've f***ed up plenty of times. When people are comfortable admitting mistakes, you get more build. You get better things, you get better tools, you get people speaking up. I don't like seeing people playing the blame game on failure. Things break, things fall over. That includes leading by example. My data engineering team, we have constant problems where changes in the business. Don't blame the business, things happen, people make mistakes. Don't play the blame game. Oh, software, I've done that thing again. Oh, those customer product teams. Let's just get on with it. Like, let's not play the blame game. Let's do it properly. When people can't challenge, like, if you're a minority, if you maybe don't speak English as your first language, you're fresh off the boat in the country, for lack of a better phrase, it can be quite difficult to find your voice. And if you've got to challenge something based on the fact that you've got an accessibility issue or something along those lines, hello, ADHD, this happens an awful lot, if you can't challenge to say, I need something, you'll never be able to be safe and you'll never want to succeed. And it always, these kind of behaviours lead to groupthink and piss poor decision making. Because you'll always end up with gobshites, not just me, you'll always end up with gobshites who are the loudest, biggest people in your team who will push the opinions out of other people. You have to make sure, build a framework around them not being able to do that. It's offering feedback, it's getting feedback from people, feedback's accessibility. Like if I turn around and said, give me some feedback at the end of this, you all might sit there very quietly going, oh, good God, I'm not doing that. But you might get me in the pub later, or if we had a form for it, you might get that. Excellence. Like I said, inclusion. Inclusion is biggie. Making sure people are valued. I love working with other people, I think they're great. Treating everyone fairly and honestly. We think we do this, but actually we kind of don't. We're quite black and white with people. Engineers are quite guilty of that. Not saying that all of you are, definitely not. I am. But making sure people's experience and their ideas matter, making sure their life experience matters as well. For a good example of that one, I had someone from a particular area of India who worked for a team of mine a few years ago, who pointed out that our encoding in our database wouldn't put their name in or their family's name in properly. Came up with those little squares of death. So we had to change it. We had to go back and figure that out. So there's an accessibility there. People are inclusive, people are inclusive. People who can, just because I've got head of in my name, doesn't mean I don't talk to the juniors, doesn't mean the juniors don't have the same opinion, don't have the same rights to an opinion, they can still voice it. Even if they sit there and we go, that's not how we'd do it X, they should still have that voice. Because when they're included, people start learning, and they'll start asking questions, they'll start discovering things, they'll start experimenting on their own about stuff that they may have found. They'll look for new oppos in the organisation. That's not, they've got something to do, and they're looking for a new job because Nik Walker's a lunatic. They'll go and find new, weird and wonderful things to solve. And they'll start collaborating. You don't have to, you can just facilitate, just give them the, go speak to Joe. Joe knows exactly what it is, it's that team building bit. And we'll engage in an unconstrained way with people. They'll just start talking on Slack. God, I love Slack. So many GIFs. But it's just, they'll talk to people, they'll go there and they'll keep you informed, but they're the ones driving it. Engineers ultimately, if you're still engineers and you're not leaders yet, you're the guys who do the do. I don't. I just make sure you get what's done. So they'll start, if you guys start doing that, perfect. If you feel safe to do that, awesome. It's better for everyone. We can foster that constructive debate. Psychological safety is about having a really hard conversation in the safest possible way. I've shared stuff about my brother. It's a safe space. No mind. And then when they've got these, when people are starting to learn, when people are free to learn, free to collaborate, they include as many people, you start getting challenges at the status quo. For people like me who had ADHD, neurodiversity is the new twig word. Like, I've always had to challenge the status quo in one way, shape or form. But it's about being able to have other people behind me doing the same thing, because I may not get it always right. Being able to speak up, new ideas, identity, blah, 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 blah. We always expose new things. When people feel safe to do things, they'll find problems and they'll just solve those problems for you. Organizationally, that's huge. And when you've got human-focused leaders, people-focused, you get ethical leaders. So people who not just follow GDPR, but fundamentally may disagree with a product that's being built. I've definitely had that in my life where I've had to leave a business because I disagreed with what we were doing because it's going in the wrong direction for me. My ethics and values are important, and that's what you bring as a human leader. Empathetic, spoke about that. Businesses see better engagement and retention. Gartner have got a report that came out about 4 weeks ago that human-centric leaders actually have up to 60% better retention. I will dig that report out so I don't sound like a guy who's throwing a statistic down, Anchorman style or anything like that. We get better innovation and creativity. These people can go out and do what they want to do. Like, I don't have to tell you how to do your job. I give you the pointer, the guardrails, you'll crack on, you'll innovate, you're creative, you're smarter than the vast majority of leaders because you're still doing the do every single day. As leaders, it's our stupidity that stops people from doing that when we put too much guardrails around them. So human-focused means you can do that. Satisfaction and well-being, you can ask my engineers, they love me. None of them are here, they're all in Manchester, I can say what I want. Organisational reputation, there we go. You're not just a corporation, clearly we're playing too much Cyberpunk, not just a corporation, you're not just a business that's going to work people to the ground. Anyone who's worked at Canary Wharf or any of the banks or anything like that will know what I'm talking about. I work for Co-op for a reason. We don't burn people out. We build a culture that all of us give a shit about because we all contribute to our Co-op. It's important. And that is something that we should start doing across all businesses, not just ones like mine. You will be pleased to know that I'll stop doing death by PowerPoint in a minute. So this is the stuff I kind of hope you've learned from this. Core values of human-centered leaders. What good and bad leadership looks like. I think we know that, but actually it's good to have someone stand in front of you and go, yes, they do sound like a knob. Don't go on LinkedIn tomorrow and say that I said that, please. Empathy is why emotional regulation as leaders, maybe as engineers, is great. Servant leadership, psychological safety, and benefits, both to you and to organizations. It's important. These things are great. But there's just a last little bit, and this is an end-to-end process. Human-centric isn't just your people are in place, and you give a about them, you give about them before they enter. I can't remember if there's anything else, no there's not. A really good example of this, my wife's a librarian, she's a book wizard, it's great. she had an interview for a job a couple of weeks ago where you've got the person who interviewed them was condescending. It's about being people, it's about giving a shit about each other. I give a crap about you, I don't know many of you, I know about 5 of you. I'll give a shit about each and every one of you, not because you're data engineers, but because you're good people. Lecture laboriousness over. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick. We have about 5 minutes if anyone has any questions.
Not so much a question, just a commentary. Firstly, thank you so much for presenting this, presenting like the importance of human-centric leadership. As someone who's been like the recipient of human-centric leadership, I can just say that it's completely transformed me as a person, but also as an engineer. I remember one time in prod, because I was working in one of our dev environments, but I was also logged into prod, and I truncated in like 10 seconds. I truncated like 30 tables, because it was like an automated sort of thing, including the table which was like central to the entire reporting system.
Everyone has done it.
Like,
every single one of you is guilty of this.
I was just staring, and I was like, oh my god, I'm screwed. Luckily it was Snowflake, so you know, there's no time travel will fix it. But the fact was that I made the mistake, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I could low-key fix this without letting anyone know, but what if someone finds out? So I just decided to be open about it. My CTO was super nice. Super nice about it. It was just like, okay, let's do this. And then I was ready, and like in the next morning stand, I was just like, okay, like I'm just gonna open up, apologize to everyone. I'm so sorry for like just holding everything back for everyone, because our afternoon was gone. And the entire approach to the conversation was, it literally opened. I was so shocked. Like I was not blamed. It was very much a what can we do to make sure we don't do, like no one ever does this, like, you know, highlight your tabs if you're in prod, like highlight your blue or something, or, you know, something like that.
Don't
and
be
just
locked
like
into
also
prod
praising me
ever.
for picking it up properly, for being honest, and I was just like, I was so shocked, 'cause I was like, in my previous experience it was never like that. I was just like, probably would got fired. So yeah, so I just want to say thank you so much. It just reminded me of like how thankful I am for my current company for having that sort of approach, or at least my team. I'm not speaking for the rest of it, but
Every engineer has had that. Every single engineer has done something in prod. Tom Scott has got. Tom Scott, everybody like Tom Scott? Anybody have not a clue who I'm talking about? Lunatics. YouTube, Tom Scott, oh no second. He has a thing where he changed a MySQL script and replaced thousands of rows in prod with like an apostrophe. Yeah, we read it, like a load of my engineers all did it at the same time, you all saw us go. Having like that panic dump of your stomach. Every single engineer has done it. Being human-centric means that, I forgot what Remember was there. Being human-centric means that you don't have to worry about it. You can open up and be like, guys, I f***ed it in a big way. You don't have to worry about it. People will help.
Nick, really good presentation, so thank you for sharing. Before the discussion we talked about, obviously, your kind of background and obviously being a counsellor and some of the experience you face, but also that Co-op embodies these values as well as a leadership team. Some organisations don't. So how would you recommend to maybe a data engineer or a new manager who doesn't have that open and safe space to kind of create that space? Is there anything advice you'd give to anyone from that stance?
You can make an awful lot of noise. You can either find people in the business. You can talk loudly about it in the business itself, and you'll probably get people who do the weird nod and going, "Yeah, it's a good idea," and then you can approach them and say, "So you kind of agreed with that? Are you interested?" You can build that up. You build a small culture underneath it. It's the same kind of way that disability and neurodiversity groups have started doing that in industries with DE&I. You kind of find your people. For me, it's a bit different. I am as diplomatic as a sledgehammer. I talk about this stuff to my team, to my peers, who the word resources pisses me off. Oh, I haven't got the resource to do that. You haven't got the people to do that. And I correct them every single time to the point where it irritates them. So just do it. Do simple things like call them people, basic things. That works for me because I'm unsubtle about things. For other people, it's about kind of trying to foster smaller communities in there where you can test this stuff out and prove that it works. If you're a leader of people, just do it. What's the business going to do? They've got policies. They've got policies that will tell you everything and anything. It won't tell you how to deal with a person. So just roll with it with your people. If you want to pick this stuff up, you can come natter to me, you can come talk to me. There's plenty of stuff on there. And I cannot remember a single book or YouTube video. Thank you so much, Brain. But I can happily find resources out to kind of do that, where you can start learning this, you can start picking it up yourself, because this is free to do. Yeah, you give it away. I'm like a counsellor, certified kind of thing, so I know how to talk to people. It's not easy, but again, if you want to be human-centric, you learn about it. You can go onto CPCAV's website, yes, abbreviations, the counselling part of it, there's a lot of resources on there where you can read it, and it's human-focused, it's people-centric for a reason. And it works with people who aren't doing therapy and with people in a workplace as well.
Anyone else?
I probably don't have to repeat it, but it's a good presentation. So my question to you is, you mentioned people who obviously work with the code base day to day, they're the people who do the doing. You mentioned that leadership, obviously team is a bit more distanced from that. How important do you think, or how easy do you actually find it personally as someone who is more senior, head of, to keep yourself upskilled? Because I've met I feel like some of the most amazing leaders that I've met were people who were obviously leading their teams, but then when I had a technical conversation with them, I was like, where do you find the time for this?
Yeah. I don't, I'll be honest. Like, there's certain things that people turn around to. There's pardon the phrase, there's kids that come out of university who are just, you guys will run rings around me these days. I tried to code something about 3 weeks ago, one of my lead engineers went, no, I will do it for you. Noted, thanks so much. You guys are smarter than me when it comes to that. You guys are smarter than me when it gets to that. And if you've got ideas to do things, then you come to me and explain it. But I keep up to date with frameworks. I don't give a shit about AWS or Azure. I love Databricks to pieces, but I also don't give a shit. I care about the little things about how to succeed with these. You guys will come up with ideas, and you can turn around. If I can give you the space to learn, to educate, to collaborate with other people, you'll come up with a solution and go, we've got this. And you may have worked with an architect, seniors, lead engineers who are day in, day out looking at that code that you can then either turn around to me or just do yourself. But yes, there is an inordinate amount of tech leadership now who kind of go, yes, about you. They start talking about things from 15, 20 years ago. I encounter it day to day. I don't keep up to date with it because it's crazy, but you just have to kind of balance it, I guess. There's no easy answer for it. There's just different types of leaders. You will find people at head of who are 100% still technical. You get ones like me who are very, very human. You get ones who are strategic focused, but I think there's a balance somewhere in there that you just have to have as you develop as a leader.
I think maybe one or two more, maybe from this side.
You have to balance the room.
Yeah.
The building won't fall over, do you?
Try to equal
Well, it might do. My massive ego on this side.
We're a small firm. We have a small team, and this sort of stuff kind of comes more naturally to us, but we're often part of much bigger teams. But we're not in your team, we're a supplier.
Ugh.
How do you get over that distance that there necessarily is between client and supplier and start to apply these kind of methodologies with that relationship?
A very glib comment that I always say is, you're part of the ship, you're part of the crew. I've got a systems integrator at the minute doing some really cool stuff with SAP. I will never ever say that sentence again. Who are definitely need to get rid of him because he keeps distracting me. Me, right? Haha. You're part of the ship, you're part of the crew. If you've got a human-centric leader, they will give a shit about you as a systems integrator, as a small consultancy, whatever you are. I've got contractors, offshore contract, nearshore contractors, who I treat as my team. They report into a couple of my leads, and they went, oh, well, they're offshore, they don't really matter. Are you having one-to-ones? How are you catching up with them? Oh, we have stand-ups. Okay. How are you developing them? Yeah, they're TCS. But how are you making sure that they're developed? How are you making sure the knowledge isn't just sitting with them? I broke something. How are you making sure the knowledge isn't just sitting with them? It's up to senior leaders to kind of sit there and say everybody who works with you, your platform, your engineers are part of an extension to that, and you treat them with the same respect, the same modicum of respect and understanding. They may not get it, they may run up to the great admin wall of IT, but we can still help out with that, and that gives you guys the ability to kind of deliver the good stuff, and you'll still feel part of what we are. And that's what I can do from your perspective of going into a business. I guess it's adapting to the culture, because if you adapt to a culture quickly, then you can sell more, right? As glib as, yeah, for longer, there you go. Longer engagements, God, timesheets, that's nice fun. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
We weren't planning on having a break, but it's a really hot room, so I think we're going to give everyone a 5-minute break to go to the bathroom or get a freshen up drink to get refreshed. So if we'll get back here at 25 past, or back to eat if there's still pizza. So if you come back here at 25 past for our second final speaker, that'll be